Okay, so thank you, Helen, so much for being willing to speak on the Living with Thorns series, and thank you for your willingness to speak openly on the subject of depression. And I think the first question we'd like to ask you is, in your darkest moments, what is it like to live with depression?
I guess I can answer that from kind of two perspectives. I've had two experiences of depression. One in my teens, which was severe depression. I experienced suicidal thoughts. More recently, just in the last couple of years, I've had a different bout of depression altogether, which has manifested in a completely different way. I think depression has a range of experiences, and I think it's easy to think, oh, it's sadness, but it's so much more than that, and quite often it doesn't feel like sadness at all. I think the worst of the past couple of years has basically been I just find that my thoughts will spiral out of control, and it can feel like everything just gets on top of me. It's a bit like, it feels a bit like having somebody just beating you around the head and knocking you down. Like, I just have all these thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I'm a failure, nothing's going to change. And on top of that, I just get all these, you should be doing this, but you should be doing this, and that just becomes really overwhelming. So I get kind of stuck. But that's quite different from kind of experiencing real hopelessness, which I also have experienced in the past, which just feels really bleak. I can't really describe any other way, that it's just it's a terrifying place to be.
So we know you're a follower of Jesus, and it's wonderful that you can help us maybe to think about what it's like to live as a Christian and follow Jesus through depression.
I find that a mixed bag. I found that at times it's a negative, that I can find myself projecting insecurities onto God, just thinking, doubting whether God has a place for me, a purpose for me. Sometimes I feel like a bad Christian, my kind of feelings of being a failure can sort of creep into Christianity. And, when you're normally, if you're struggling to read your Bible or whatever, you feel a bit lousy, but adding depression onto that, it's really difficult. There's a flip side to it, though. I've experienced real intimacy with God through it. The times when I've when all just seems silent, and I've not experienced God speak necessarily, but God's presence can be very, very close. And there's been times when I've just let it all out, just been really honest before God, had a good old rant and cry, just let it all out, and the closeness of God in those moments has been amazing. No, Belle. I think, it makes me more reliant on God. The other thing is, I've experienced God using that experience to help others, which has been really powerful, knowing that this experience can be used for me to get alongside others who are going through stuff as well.
So quite a diverse experience. So hello. So what do you think were the best and the worst aspects of being in church through those times of depression?
The best, I think, church is a very strong community. It's good to have people around you who can pray for you and support you. That's been really important. And, just having something that will get you out of the house, something really positive that can remind you of the big picture of God's love when you're not feeling that, is really important. On the other hand, again, I've found depression has made me very flaky. It's very hard for me to commit to anything, to get involved in anything. I've just have a really, really low capacity, really low burnout point. So it's been quite hard to connect with people because I can't sort of get very involved in things often. And that's been a bit difficult. And the other thing is that quite often, Christianity is quite positive. And when I think it's not so much an issue in Belmont, I've encountered, but I have encountered it amongst Christians that it can be quite hard to be real. And when it feels like everybody around you is succeeding and having a great time and feeling wonderful and you're not, it's a really difficult place to be sometimes.
Yeah. So, with depression, what kind of things help you to come out of those times or prevent you slipping into those times of hopelessness? What helps?
I think knowing yourself really well to start with, so that you can catch the warning signs early, is a good thing. The earlier you get onto it and tackle it, the more likely you are to be able to get through it really well. Talking about it helps. I find, talking to other people and talking to God, just being really honest about where you're at. The more I've been able to talk about it, the more it's kind of broken the power of depression, which kind of thrives on secrecy, and it's helped me to find support from other people and get alongside other people as well. And like I was saying, that kind of honesty before God is really powerful. Self-care. There's a lot of just really boring self-care stuff that you can do. What
kind of things do you do?
I think just making sure that I get out and about, especially if I've had a time when I have just felt really stuck, to be able to get myself out of the house. It's an effort of will at times, but to be able to do that, go out and just be in nature, be in the sunshine, get a bit of exercise. I paid a lot more attention to my diet, so just eating healthily, making sure I drink water, that kind of stuff. It's boring, it doesn't fix it, but it helps keep you well and able to function through it. Work's helped, just having a regular routine and just a place that I can go and just get out of it and feel useful. Perspective. I found the narrative of the Bible just really, really vital, that if you get close to losing hope in yourself, to be reminded that there's hope in the big picture, that God's kingdom is coming in and God is at work in the world, and that hope is so much bigger than myself, my own little life. That is really important. Therapy, if anyone is struggling, definitely try and get help for it, because there's help out there. I've been through cognitive behavioural therapy, which has helped sort of deal with the symptoms, I suppose, and I've also been to a counsellor, so I've had some counselling to try and get underneath as well, about what's going on. And the last thing, Switchfoot. So I'm an absolute mega fan of this band, and that's kind of personal to me, that I find Switchfoot really, really helpful. I've been a fan for way longer than I've been ill, but just the last couple of years when things have got difficult at times, I think just having artists there, and there are many, many more, it doesn't have to be Switchfoot, it's not going to be for everybody, but there are Christians out there who have gone through this kind of stuff. It affects a quarter of us at any one time. There are Christians out there who have been through depression and anxiety and stress, and who can give you the words to put to that experience, I suppose, to be able to express it, to be able to work through it, and who point you towards hope. So which would have been that for me.
Fantastic. So it's not just one thing, it's a whole range of things.
Absolutely. The more weapons you've got to fight back against it. I think
and something you really enjoy as well, and brings you pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Helen.
Thank you.
That's a real blessing to us. Thank you.
Thanks.